Imagine the worst version of your Tuesday. Deadline missed, inbox on fire. You're sitting there completely cooked. And someone, probably the most unhelpful person in your life, leans over and says, "Have you tried going for a walk?" And somehow, it actually works. You come back 20 minutes later and the noise in your head has quieted. But why? What is actually happening inside your skull the moment your legs start moving? I'm a doctor, and just to be clear, this is general physiological education, not personal medical advice. But the answer is one of the most jaw-dropping stories in modern neuroscience. Now here's the thing, most people, doctors included if we're being honest, think walking makes you happy for one simple reason. Fresh air, change of scenery, a bit of time away from your desk. Just a distraction. And look, that's not wrong, but it is spectacularly incomplete. Because what's actually happening is a precise multi-system neurochemical event. Your brain doesn't just feel better when you walk, it physically changes at the molecular level. The structure of the organ inside your skull is literally being altered by your feet hitting the pavement. And to understand how, we need to look inside the brain itself, because this isn't a simple story. This is a city, a vast, extraordinary, complex biological metropolis. And your legs are the cleaning crew. So the brain as a city. Inside your skull right now, there are roughly 86 billion neurons. Think of every single one as a building in an insanely dense metropolis. These buildings are connected by approximately 100 trillion synapses, the roads and motorways of the city. And like any city, this metropolis is running 24/7. It never stops, not even when you sleep. It uses roughly 20% of your entire body's energy, despite being only 2% of your body weight. That is a wildly inefficient city, and an inefficient city produces waste. Metabolic rubbish, toxic byproducts, misfolded proteins drifting through the streets like litter. One of these, a sticky, clumping protein called beta amyloid, is literally the litter clogging up the gutters. If it builds up over years, that's the road to Alzheimer's disease. So here's the question, how does this city clean itself? Every major metropolis has a sewage system, a network of underground pipes flushing away the filth. Your brain has one too, and almost nobody knew it existed until 2012. And when your legs start walking, they switch it on. In 2012, a neuroscientist named Micah Neregard made a discovery that shook the neuroscience world. She found that the brain has its own hidden waste drainage system, named it the Glymphatic System. And here's how it works. Your brain floats in a clear fluid called cerebrospinal fluid. Think of it as the city's clean water supply. The Glymphatic System pumps this fluid through tiny channels that walk around every single blood vessel in the brain, like a high-pressure pipe cleaning jet blasting through the architecture of the metropolis, flushing out the beta amyloid, clearing the metabolic litter, power washing the entire city. But here's the thing that floored researchers. This system is massively boosted by physical movement. When your legs move rhythmically, as they do when you walk, they create a pulse. That pulse travels up through your spinal fluid all the way into your brain. It's like someone turned the pressure up on the power wash. The glymphatic pump accelerates, the waste clearance doubles. Your legs are literally, physically cleaning your brain with every single step. But the power wash is only the beginning. Because while the cleaning crew is busy flushing out the gutters, something else is being quietly dispatched to the building sites across the city. Construction Foreman. And he's carrying the most powerful brain-building chemical we've ever discovered. Scientists call it brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF. The Harvard psychiatrist John Ratey, who literally wrote the book on exercise and the brain, calls it miracle grow for the mind. And that name is almost embarrassingly accurate. BDNF is a protein, and it does something almost science fiction. It grows brand new neurons, new buildings in the metropolis, erected from scratch. And walking is one of the most powerful triggers we know of for releasing it. Within minutes of starting a walk, BDNF begins flooding into a specific district of the brain, the hippocampus, your memory and emotional regulation hub. Think of the hippocampus as the city's central library and emotional control tower rolled into one. BDNF walks in like a foreman with an urgent building contract and a hard hat, promotes neurogenesis, new neuron growth, and strengthens the synaptic roads between them. He physically rebuilds the city's infrastructure. And here is where it gets measurable and extraordinary. A landmark 2011 study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science found that after just 6 months of regular walking, hippocampus grew in volume by 2%. 2%. That doesn't sound like much. Without exercise, the hippocampus shrinks by approximately 1% every single year as we age. Walking didn't just slow the clock, it reversed it. Participants showed measurable improvements in memory and spatial navigation. The city wasn't just cleaner, it had new buildings. And this is the part that genuinely gets me. BDNF is not working alone. Because while the construction foreman is rebuilding the hippocampus, the city's entire security apparatus is being rewired simultaneously. And that rewiring is what you actually feel when a walk lifts your mood. Meet the Neurochemical security team. First, serotonin, the city's public health commissioner. Serotonin is one of the primary regulators of mood, sleep, appetite, and emotional stability. Think of it as the officer patrolling the city streets, keeping the atmosphere calm, ordered, and livable. Walking increases serotonin synthesis. The streets get safer. Next, dopamine, the city's economic engine. Dopamine drives motivation, anticipation, and reward. Every footstep releases a small dopamine reward, creating a sustained sense of progress. It's the city's economy firing, creating a low-level, sustained buzz of momentum. Then there are endorphins, and here's why I need to burst the second myth of this video. You've heard of runner's high, that euphoric feeling some athletes report after intense exercise. For decades, we credited endorphins, and they were delighted with the attention. But here's the inconvenient truth. Endorphin molecules are too large to cross the blood-brain barrier. They cannot get into the Metropolis directly. The real molecules responsible for exercise euphoria? Endocannabinoids, your body's own natural cannabis-like compounds. Tiny, lipid-soluble, small enough to slip straight through the city walls. Inside the brain, they bind to receptors and produce a wave of calm, mild euphoria, and reduced anxiety. This is your brain's own chemistry, not a pharmaceutical, produced by your own body when you move. And finally, the most critical player of all, cortisol. Cortisol is the city's pollution index. Chronic stress floods the brain with cortisol, like industrial smog settling across the whole metropolis. It corrodes the hippocampus, suppresses BDNF, shuts down the city's regenerative systems. Walking systematically reduces cortisol levels. The smog lifts, construction crews return, the power wash resumes. But we're still missing one final piece of the metropolis: command center. Deep in the frontal architecture of the brain sits the prefrontal cortex. Think of it as the city's central planning office, responsible for rational thought, decision-making, and emotional regulation. When you're anxious or depressed, this office goes quiet, the lights go off. Another system moves in to fill the silence, the default mode network. The default mode network is what activates when your mind has nothing focused to do. And left to its own devices, it tends to do one thing: ruminate. It replays embarrassing memories, catastrophes about the future, and finds patterns in suffering. It is a city's anxiety broadcast system running at full volume. Walking suppresses the default mode network. The rational command center powers back up. Prefrontal cortex takes the controls, which is why a walk doesn't just make you feel better emotionally, it literally makes you think more clearly and solve problems more effectively. Stanford researchers found that walking, even on a treadmill staring at a blank wall, boosted creative output by an average of 60%. The city had been cleared and the architects were finally free to work. So here is the full picture. Every time you walk, your legs fire up the glymphatic power wash, sweeping toxic waste from your brain. BDNF floods the hippocampus, rebuilding the architecture, growing new neurons from scratch. Serotonin, dopamine, and endocannabinoids stabilize every mood system in the city. Cortisol, the pollution, drops, and the default mode network quiets, returning rational control to the command center. This is not just exercise, this is maintenance of the most complex structure in the known universe. And the reason it works so elegantly is profoundly simple. We are not a sitting species. Our brains evolved over 300,000 years of continuous movement. Your brain was not designed for the desk chair, it was designed for the open road. Every step you take is your brain hearing its native language. So the next time the noise in your head gets too loud, go for a walk. Not because it gives you fresh air, because it power washes your brain, grows new neurons, clears the smog, and puts the command center back in charge. That's what happens every single time.